Today, I'm going to give you one tip for every single rifle inside of Counter-Strike 2. These are things that I've used to go from being an absolute noob to being an FPL pro inside of this game. You're not going to want to miss out on this, especially the ones at the end, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. First up, let's talk about the Famas. This weapon is most valuable when you need to force or you need to get utility. It is so much cheaper than the M4A4 or the M4A1S, sitting at $1,950. For this gun specifically, when you have it in your hands, you're going to use it like most rifles, but I would be more inclined to go for little 5 to 6 bullet burst at most. The recoil can be very interesting with it. It's not the most effective rifle, but if you can sit there and burst with it, especially if you involve little jiggle peaks like this, it is absolutely incredible. But let's go ahead and move on to some other weapons. The SSG-08, otherwise known as the Scout, is one of the most effective low-cost rifles inside of this game. Now, it has to be used properly because if we are buying this in the wrong round, it is absolutely useless. If you ever win a round, unless you're playing on Dust 2, I wouldn't be getting the Scout. This is a really good force buy weapon when you guys lost the round prior and you're still trying to buy it. The beautiful thing about the Scout is that if you play really long range angles, it can be super effective because you can boom, hit them for 70, reposition, hit them for 70 again, or ultimately if you have really good aim and can go for headshots, you are going to one-shot kill with this gun. My biggest tip for you is don't be afraid to spam with this gun. Say you're playing Ancient here and you get smoked off and you have the Scout. Don't be afraid to put some shots through commonly trafficked areas because ultimately you can see you have so many bullets inside of this weapon. It's very accurate with no scopes as well, so if you ever line your crosshair up in a certain position, you could just use that as a reference point to go for some cheeky little no scopes. The accuracy on this gun is absolutely insane. The go-to with the Scout is just always keep moving. It is like an op, but way more mobile. You can just run around and just create so much chaos with it. This video is brought to you by Skins Monkey, the best CS2 trading site out there. Swap out your low quality skins for fresh new ones using all of their trade features. I love the filters that you can use to get the exact skin that you desire. I have personally used Skins Monkey to build my inventory over the years. Right now, use my code CoJo at the checkout for an insane 35% deposit bonus. The best part is that you will receive a $5 bonus by clicking the link in the description. Moving over to the M4A4 now, this is an extremely effective rifle to use. This is a lot of people's go-to choice on the CT side. Now, when you specifically have this gun, take advantage of the high fire rate that it has. While the AK-47 is going to be much stronger, more powerful, your advantage with the M4A4 is how fast these bullets come out of the chamber. I love to use it as well because it has 30 bullets and then 90 in reserve. So that means that we can sit here and learn a lot of different spam lineups. If they're planting the bomb here on Ancient, I can spam them. I can spam them as they're running up on the site. You can get so much free damage just by shooting through smokes with this gun. Also, a little niche tip that I think is pretty effective is because of how fast this gun shoots, if you're ever facing against like, eco round for the other team, it can be really effective instead of always aiming at headshot level, actually aiming at body level and just killing them instantly with so many shots. You'll see a lot of pros actually drop their crosshair down just a little bit on eco round to get that for sure damage and make sure that they're actually disrupting their opponents as they're running in and they're packing up. So the M4, extremely effective at close range, very powerful, very fast gun. Let's talk about the M4A1S now. The most powerful aspect of this weapon is the fact that it is silenced. One of my favorite things to do with the M4A1S is put myself into flank positions, get around my enemies, because when you put yourself in these situations, especially at lower elo, you're going to find that you're going to kill somebody, then kill someone else and kill the third guy, and they have no clue what's going on because they're just clueless. It doesn't make a lot of noise. A lot of times people are really not aware of what's going on around them, and it is just so effective. Now, I know we've talked about it in this video a lot, but truly one of the biggest strengths with the A1S is the fact that you can spam smokes and your tracers aren't visible. Tracers aren't visible with the A1S because of the fact that it's silenced. So it's going to be a lot harder for them to return spam back to you. Of course, it does make a little hole in the smoke, but with the AK, M4, other guns, it shows exactly where you are. So get into lots of smoke spam battles. And the last little tip is get active with the A1S. It's so accurate even when you're moving around. The spray control is very easy to understand. So just run, get active, and use the laser beam that this gun is. The AUG is one of the most misunderstood weapons inside of Counter-Strike. Everybody tells you that with this $3,300 weapon, you should be playing grimy long-range angles like this. And while that is absolutely true, and you can destroy people like that, nobody really understands that with this gun, you can one-shot your opponents at close range. If I'm playing in halls, if they peek out at me and I tap them in the head, they are instantly dead on one shot. It is very unique in the fact that it can do this, and a lot of people never even realize this is a thing with the gun. So surprise your opponents, make them rage, and play close close range angles with the AUG and see what happens. If you break the auto ice, you pay the auto price. The Scar 20 is one of the most BM weapons that you can choose on the CT side. It's going to be a $5,000 rifle. So while I wouldn't recommend using it, if you have opponents that are very susceptible to tilt, they're crying, they're complaining, this can be one of the most effective weapons to use to just get people to forfeit, get people to lose their minds. Play long range angles with this. Don't really ever look to play close range. Although its no scoping abilities are pretty good, you do not want your opponents to necessarily get their hands on this and start destroying your teammates, because then the tilt factor actually reverses and now everybody's tilted on the server. So have fun with this gun, but don't use it too seriously. While we're talking about auto snipers, let's talk about the G3 SG1. Now this weapon is absolutely useless. You don't really want a T-side auto sniper because if your opponents get their hands on it, it's actually much more powerful for them to use on CT side against you on T side. Ultimately, my tip would be to never even have this in your loadout. Don't even think about using it. But if you do want to have it and use it, the last round of the half is ultimately one of the best times to do it because you're not really concerned if they get it and use it in their falling rounds. A lot of times I would buy an AK or an op and then just have the auto sniper. Maps like Dust 2, it can be really effective to sit there and hold cross and spam them as they're jumping. Or even on Inferno, you could sit here and spam into halls. You know, you could shoot through this X right here and see if you kill anybody, do any damage on people that are pushing, aggressing into here. So again, it's just a good tilt weapon. Ultimately, you're not really going to want to use it, but this is the effective way to do it if you choose to. The SG553 is a very unique T-side weapon. This is because it comes with a scope. A lot of people are scared off from this weapon because they think that the spray control and the recoil pattern is too hard to master. Now, while it isn't the easiest thing to think about, all you have to do is remember to pull down to the left. So if you ever get this weapon in your hand, remember, pull down to the left. Ultimately, though, it is really effective at just like tapping your opponents away. I like doing that when I have this. Just try not to have this on an eco round because it shoots so slow and it has a lot of armor penetration. It's probably one of the best rifles in the game at penetrating walls, penetrating armor, but it's not going to be good at crowd controlling. So use this in a very tactical way where you have cover, because if you get overran, it's going to be impossible to actually multi-frag with this thing. The Galil AR is known as the T-side M4 because of its high rate of fire and the fact that it does not one-shot to the head if your opponent has a helmet. So my tip with this weapon in specific is get really good at using it when you think that the opponent is going to be on eco or if they don't have that much money. Why is this? Because if your opponents don't have head armor, then this gun absolutely tears through them. It might be weaker, but if they don't have that helmet, it's still going to one-shot them. It's going to be free kills. It's going to be very easy. With the spray pattern, just realize that while yes, it's not the most straightforward, all you have to do is pull down to the right. You just have to pull slightly down to the right and you are going to be an absolute pro with this gun. The AK-47 is the ultimate weapon inside of Counter-Strike 2. It is absolutely devastating because of the fact that it one-shots to the head. If you're dueling against an M4, an AUG, and A1S, it doesn't matter because if you guys click at the exact same time, you are going to kill them and they're going to hit you for 91. This weapon should be the one that you use in all of your training when you're doing pre-firing, going through recoil training. It's so important because if you can get your hands on the AK and get comfortable with it, get familiar with it, you will succeed inside of this game. So understand concepts like donk sliding, get familiar with the recoil spray transfers, which I just made a video on recently. There's so many ways that you can feel comfortable with the AK. It's not that scary. It's not that intimidating. You just have to get that recoil down to start learning how to use it.